Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Alan Rough and Tam McManus are here with me. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for joining us. There's lots to discuss in the football sense, and if you hit the subscribe button, you can join our football family, uncensored, unbiased, unmatched, 7 days a week. If you download the app, you'll get all the breaking football news as well, and you can watch it on your website and of course on our app as well. But YouTube, stick it on the big telly, Ruffy, and just watch it at your leisure. Sometimes people do it in their man caves and their women caves.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I know work shift work, you know, and sometimes it's they can't wait to get at home, and they just sit down and watch it.
Do you put it on YouTube on your telly?
I couldn't find that.
No.
They've not got YouTube on the ones that the square buttons that you press.
Yeah.
With the 6 different
Absolutely.
channels.
Oh, he's still paying the subscription to DER. There's a few people who used to actually rent. You'd rent the telly off them. Do you remember that, Ruffy?
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember renting Sunbed.
No.
The ones that come in, you buy it, you hire it, and comes out and just sits over your bed, and you lie underneath it.
Is that right?
Aye.
Wow.
People always used to see a light in my house and thought my house was getting tanned.
Yeah. To be fair,
Remember
not a good thing to do. Dare I say it? How we got onto sunbeds, I'll never know. Now, what about the competition? It's a good one, and Kerry has the details.
We have another superb competition here at PLZ Soccer. You can win one of our very own Maestro tops from the PLZ Soccer shop, along with a poster of Celtic legend Danny McGrain or Rangers legend David Cooper. All you have to do is answer this simple question: which year did Scotland last qualify for a World Cup? Post your answer in the comment section below, and when we pick our winner, we'll contact you to find out which poster you would like and which colour of Maestro top you would like to wear. And don't forget to double your chances of winning. Hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Good prize there. Well worth it. So, Ruffy, it was house getting tanned and sunbeds.
Yeah, it was too early in the show.
Too early in the show. He's got to run. He's got to have a run up, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's got to.
Yeah. Before he gets the gag out.
I'll have another one before the end.
Anyway, don't forget to put down what poster you want, and this. Obviously, I think eventually when we contact you, we'll get the size of your Maestro top, and you can pick any colour you want. Ruffy, you've got your green one on today.
Yes, I've been looking for a black one for a while, but I haven't got it yet. I've got a black one, I've got a red one, I've got a green one.
Yeah.
So a black one would be nice.
Yeah.
You got a blue one?
No, I haven't got a blue one either.
Right, okay. Well, Tam moaned for months till he got the black one. So you can win the poster and the top as well. Good luck with that. A couple of things I want to get your thoughts on, lads, before we get into the meat and bones of the football as well. Here's the quiz question for today, and it's with Erling Haaland in mind. Name the only 2 other players to have scored 5 goals in a UEFA Champions League game, because Haaland scored 5 goals for Manchester City. We're going to discuss that shortly. Would you have taken him off if you were the manager, or would you have let him stay on to try and break the record and get 6 goals? Only 2 other players have scored 5 goals. That's the quiz question.
No, not yet.
Not yet, it's too early. We'll give you the answer at the end of the programme. Also, our thoughts with Chris Shevlin's family. Chris sadly passed away, I think at the age of 80. He was a professional footballer who played for Hearts, Celtic, Hibs and Morton, and also had some Scotland caps at under 23 level, Ruffy. And I think our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends at this sad time.
Yeah, I think some of the older viewers who watch your show remember Chris, hard-hitting fullback, you know, one of the old style defenders like John Gregg. And there's not many players have done the divide, you know, Hearts Hibs, you know, very, very unusual. And played a long time. I know he was only at Celtic for a wee while, but I'm sure a lot of the viewers will remember him, you know, for his time at Hibs and Hearts.
Okay, now we get a lot of emails, and some of them we get messages in the submissions section in our app, or indeed people drop us a little line at studio@plzsoccer.com. So Jamie from Thailand was listening to our conversation the other day there, Ruffy, and he says, you have on a number of occasions mentioned the poor state of Scottish football in terms of both the competition and finances. We now face a situation where Celtic could mop up the treble with a team that, in my opinion, is inferior to other treble winners. Add to that a cup final that will have interest to anyone will not have interest to anyone outside of Scotland. You have correctly highlighted the chasm between the top two and the nearest so-called challengers. Well, he goes on to say, Jamie, as a Rangers fan who attended his first game in 1967, I risk upsetting my fellow Bears, but the treble in Scotland has very little value out of Scotland. We are judged outside our Goldfish Bowl, and I'll give you an example. When Rangers won the European Cup Winners' Cup, we finished 4th in the league that season and won nothing. We only got a place in the European Cup Winners' Cup because Celtic won the double, but that sits proudly in our history. No one remembers what a failure that season was domestically. Scottish football needs quality sponsorship, expand the league so we don't have buses parked in negative football with the only intention of stealing a point. That's short-term business and will not attract business sponsored. It also harnesses the development of young players as they are seen as a risk. This subject needs possibly a full hour of discussion with the panel on this one. It's a good point that Jamie makes, and we continually make it, Tam.
Yeah, it's a very, very good email from Jamie there. I agree with what he's saying. I think the league needs to be bigger. I think I spoke about it the other day. Managers are under far too much pressure. You know, there was a damning statistic the other day that there's only a handful of Scottish players under 21 that have actually started games in their top flight. You know, you've probably seen it on social media as well. I thought that was appalling, to be honest. So I put that down to two things. Firstly, the league managers are under so much pressure. Hibs have got a lot of good young boys coming through, but Lee Johnson was under pressure to get results, and there's no way when he's under pressure needing to get a result is he going to throw 2 or 3 young boys in there rather than an experienced player. And the opportunities that young boys are getting, I think we're signing too many loan players from England, and I think we're signing too many journeyman substandard players from League 1, League 2 in England and abroad, which I think is stunting the growth of young players as well. So listen, it's something that everybody needs to get round the table, because as I said, it's no fun for anyone watching Celtic and Rangers, you know, winning 3, 4, 5 every week. You know, it's no fun whatsoever for Hearts, Hibs, you know, Aberdeen fans who want to be competitive. So I think there is a massive chasm, and I totally agree with Jamie. There's something that needs to be discussed amongst the bigwigs in Scottish football.
Funnily enough, there's always someone who takes a different spin on it. Paul Martin says, Rangers fan, talking the game down when Celtic are the best side, it's always the same. Well, you know, I seem to remember, and I can look back, you know, on Rangers 9 in a row. It wasn't healthy. When Rangers won 9 in a row, the best team in Scotland next to Rangers was Aberdeen. Out of the 6 out of the 9 in a row, Aberdeen were their main challengers. Celtic were nowhere near them. They were financially, you know, in the gutter, to put it politely. They just couldn't compete with them financially, and Rangers were winning 9 in a row, and obviously David Murray was ploughing as much money as he could find into trying to win the European Cup. And ultimately, Ruffy, that's the situation with us. And I only have to go to a situation now where, again, Hatate and Kyogo have been left out of the Japan squad because the manager reckons that he's not picking them because of the standard of the SPFL and the Premiership that they play in.
Well, that's the view of the whole of England. You know, they don't give us anything at all, you know, and I can see where they're coming from, because I think Rangers and Celtic don't get challenged. They're never in a game where the backs are to the wall, where they're having defending to see the game out. The only time that happens is when they go to Europe, you know, so that's where we are. You know, it's never going to change. The only way it's going to change is Rangers and Celtic, and I hate saying it, going down south.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think that's going to happen because a lot of clubs wouldn't do it. But if they went down, you're opening the debate, would Scottish football survive? And would it be better without them? Whereas Aberdeen's, Hibs, Hearts would be winning the league, they'd be second and third and fourth. Is that healthy for our game? It's something you have to sit back and wonder, would it be? I don't know what you think.
Peter, I think it's got to be an extended league. I think that is...
An extended league's a must.
That is absolutely a must. I know, but as I said, people have got to put the overall, you know, face of Scottish football in front of finance. You know, they don't want to lose the 3-4 games against Celtic Rangers every week and the finance that comes with that. But if it's a 16-team league, you know, you've got a wee bit more breathing space to play younger players. You know, you're no looking over your shoulder. Listen, there's 4 or 5 clubs right now in a relegation battle. You know, and with social media and everything that goes with it, you go 3 or 4 games without a win. You know, people on social media I think need to change the manager. So it's not a great environment to throw young players in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, we could dedicate, and I think Jamie's right, we could dedicate a whole programme to this. And you know what, to be perfectly honest with you, with a number of people that I think would be our special guests, it's possibly not a bad shout, to get a few people in and just make a programme and discuss the whole thing rather than dedicate the majority of today on it. Ian Docherty, I mean, he says, as a Rangers fan, I have to say this Celtic team is the best since Jock Stein's era. I'm not so sure I agree with you, Ian, on that one either. But a lot of people have their say on it, and I think Paul's wide of the mark on it. It's not because Celtic are running away with it, because at the end of the day, Celtic fans are quite happy that they're at the top of the league and they're on the verge of a treble. They're loving it. They change, their mindset changes, I think, Ruffy, once you get to August to December, where they actually look and think, okay, we're now out of that zone of we know we're going to win most of the games, and they don't know. That's what I loved about the weekend. Bournemouth beat Liverpool after Liverpool trounced Man United 7-0. I love games where there's an uncertainty and you don't know who's going to win.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to get that in our league. It's just, it might happen on a one-off chance. That haven't done it. I can't remember any other shocks this year, and include obviously Rangers in that one as well. You know, they went through a wee dodgy period, but since the new managers come in, they've never been tested by anybody. They've struggled a wee bit against Aberdeen, but at the end of the day, it's never that, as I say, backs to the wall. You know, are they going to get beat here? In the end, they always find a way and they come out comfortable winners.
Yeah, Brian makes a good point. Japan boss then goes and picks Maeda. Strange comments. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where I'm saying to myself, you can't come out and criticise the league and then pick one of them. I think he's just talking a lot of nonsense. I mean, at the end of the day, you'll live or die by your results. If he's got enough options and he thinks there's a player better than Kyogo, just say it.
He must think there's better than Kyogo and Hatate in his team, in his squad. I don't think it's anything to do with the quality of the league. Obviously, Maeda's been in there as well. So no, but I think if you're an international manager, you're wanting all your players to play in the top leagues. You're wanting all your players to play in the top leagues because they're tested every week. You know, and that's where you get your pool of players from. And if you're picking from a lot of players from Celtic, Rangers, they're cruising every week. You know, every week they're turning up, dominating the ball. You know, winning 4 and 5. You know, you're not getting tested individually as a player either.
Yeah, Ronnie Porter, who every now and then pops up with a comment or two and makes some very good points on a regular basis, says, Peter, with the exception of last season where Rangers got to the Europa Cup final, apart from that, neither Rangers or Celtic are good enough for European football. It's just the SPFL. You're absolutely right, Ronnie. I mean, that is the situation. Our standard has dropped dramatically. I mean, I think it's been more stark. It's difficult in the COVID seasons because, our main focus of attention was just try and keep clubs afloat. That was how we were all thinking, and the fact that there was no fans in the ground, you were just looking on and saying, okay, can everybody survive with handouts and get to the end of the season and hopefully fans can come back in. Now, in the cold light of day, because, and this is not an insular thing, Ruffy, in the cold light of day, most of Europe is worried about it on a larger scale than us. But Real Madrid are still, for me, the favourites to win the Champions League, but they've got huge debts. I think that's the only way Celtic and Rangers will get down to the Premier League. If a couple of big clubs were going to fold because they weren't able to manage their money possibly and properly, then...
The success of our football up here is that Celtic, and I don't want to throw Rangers into a financial situation, but everybody else is posting losses. Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, they're all posting losses, so there must be something. That's why their teams are stagnant. That's why they're not. I take Hearts out of that equation because they have actively been buying in players, but the rest of them are all posting losses. So if you're posting losses, how can you bring in better players than what you've got? You've got to manage your books.
Yeah, well, you've got to manage your books, but let's not lose sight of the fact that a lot of clubs down south post losses. You can run at a deficit in your club as long as you can still manage it on a season by season basis.
As long as you can stay in the league.
Yeah, and as long as you avoid becoming a Bolton, which is suddenly you find yourself 174 million in debt and wondering how the hell you're going to get out of it unless a benefactor comes in. But listen, it's a great topic, and certainly one that Jamie pointed out to us that we will obviously look at as a separate programme before we get to the end of this. Thanks very much to so many people who obviously post messages, and as ever we always like to say, try and keep your comments decent. There are people who actually just come on the feed and couldn't care what Ruffy or any of us say. They're just on there to annoy the life out of you, abuse you, or say something detrimental. Don't worry about them, and I apologise to everyone who listens to our podcast for this, who might not be privy to some of the people whose mind's in the gutter. Just ignore them. Every now and then we block them. It's as simple as that. And we tell them, as Tam says on more than a few occasions, and I do, this is not the show for you. You can go somewhere else, usually some fanzines where you can enjoy talking like that. The SPFL has agreed a new one-year extension with the SPFL Trust for continued sponsorship of the Trust Trophy. So that's good news as well. And of course, the partnership was first agreed in 2020 with the philanthropist James Anderson and a few benefactors who obviously helped with the sponsorship of the competition. And it's good. I mean, guys like James Anderson are, you know, they should be commended for their commitment to Scottish football, especially grassroots and the women's game as well.
Yeah, and especially when COVID was here, you know, I mean, we all know the money he put into the game. I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that weren't out there for everybody. You know, he seems to have hit the right mark in the places that need his money, you know, and he's done very, very well. I know he's a big Hearts man, and he was very heavily in there, but fair dues to him, you know, there was a lot of things that he really didn't have to take part in, but he put his money in there and it helped a lot of clubs.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure if Hearts, you know, suddenly hit some hard times, he would delve into his money as well. And talking of finances, I know David Martindale has been talking over the last few weeks about players that he knows he just can't afford. He has revealed that, you know, the average first team wage is around about £900. He knows he's going to lose guys like Jack Fitzwater, Nicky Devlin as well. They've got the smallest budget in the league, and he's got to duck and dive every now and then to try and get the best out of what he has available and recruit as well, really well. And I think his recruitment has embarrassed a number of clubs in the Premiership.
Yep, and that puts pressure on clubs with bigger budgets. You know, when chairmen and boards are looking at Livingston and going, their average wage is about £900. We're paying double, treble that, you know, at your Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen. So I think his recruitment's been brilliant, but he can't keep these players. You know, Nicky Devlin's been a very, very good player for them, captain. You know, he might think to himself, listen, it's a chance for me to get down and treble, you know, quadruple my money in England. Even in League Two, you would get treble that. So it's very difficult for Livingston to compete, and that's why you've got to commend David Martindale with the job he's done there, with the finances he's got. You know, he's getting the best story out of those players, and he can't keep pulling a rabbit out of the hat forever. And you know, there's going to come a time where I think he's going to have to move on from Livingston. But you know, for them to be competing in the top six with that budget, you've got to commend the manager for it.
Yeah, it's the last thing that anybody wants, Ruffy, is to be embarrassed, but he's doing that, and other clubs are looking, and they've actually axed their managers off the back of he's denying them a place in the top six because of the performances. Obviously he faces a battle on his hands because they're on a wee bit of a bad run at the moment.
Yeah, he's identified, he's got a knack of identifying people a lot of us don't know anything about, you know, and they come up here and they can hold their own quite easily. You know, and it's unfortunate, you know, his home base, the support there should be better than what it is because of the success that they're having, but it just seems to be the same old that turn up at the home games, and it's not enough, you know, to give the players better wages. So, you know, it must be a hard one every season if you finish in top six and you're struggling because you have to lose 2 or 3 players.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll return to talk about Rangers, Celtic a little later on in the programme, and of course Hearts and Hibs, who have had to change the time of the Edinburgh Derby. I'll get Tam's thoughts on that as well. I just thought we'd quickly talk about last night in the Champions League because I love watching the Champions League. Here's the results from last night, and tonight's games are tasty as well. Porto 0, Inter Milan 0, Manchester City 7, RB Leipzig 0, Napoli take on Eintracht Frankfurt 2-0 up, Real Madrid take on Liverpool 5-2 up. It was 5 goals for Erling Haaland last night, Ruffy. It was an absolute joy to watch him banging in the goals because you're actually saying to yourself, is he going to get a double hat-trick against, by the way, a good team?
Yeah, they are a good team, and German teams are always very, very difficult to beat. You know, you ask anybody if you're drawn against them, they're very tough, they're very strong. But I mean, that was just electric last night. You know, and that's 7 seems to be a big score in this Champions League. You know, a lot of 7s. You know, I don't know why. You know, but it just shows you the quality that the players have. You know, if you hit it all right on the night, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get a tanning.
Yeah, you turned into Dennis Norton, have you?
All right tonight.
There you go. Well done, Ruffy. I mean, it was a situation where, I don't know about you, I know we've disagreed with it in the preview of the show, but I mean, come on, let him score a double hat-trick. It's just outrageous. It's one of those situations very rarely, you know, well, nobody scored a double hat-trick. It was that moment where you say, there's still another 20 minutes to go, Pep, don't take him off.
I can understand why you would think that, but me putting my players or coaching hat on, I'm thinking to myself, the game's done. He is your number 1 striker. You know, you're 5-6-0 up. Get him off. You know, keep him fresh for the next game. Don't risk him getting injured. I understand personally for him, you know, doing great. He's got a double hat trick, but Pep's probably thinking, listen, the team comes first, and it comes before any individual. You've done brilliant. You've scored 5 goals, brilliant. Off you come and give somebody else a run out. So I think Man City. You know, I watched the first half of the first leg, and I couldn't understand why Red Bull Leipzig were sitting in and parking the bus. You know, thinking, why don't you open up and have a go? Well, that's why they never opened up and had a go, because when they went 2-0 down early, they had to chase the game, and they left gaps and spaces for Man City, and Man City absolutely destroyed them. It could have been 10.
Yeah, just remember it's not Red Bull Leipzig. That was last week's question. Rasenball Sport Leipzig. But I have to say, Ruffy, and I'm not often scathing about Tam, but when Tam eventually gets his A badge and goes on to coaching and being a manager of a top side, I'm not going to watch Tam's side. You know, because clearly if they score a couple of goals and there's a really good player then he's getting hooked, we're not getting entertained. You know, let's think of the team, let's take him off, and Tam's team will be dull. Whereas Haaland last night, leave him on, double hat-trick.
I can't understand Tam being a striker, you know, would agreed with that. If you were sitting on 2 and there was 20 minutes to go, so you were playing for Hibs against Hearts and you had 2 goals.
Hibs against Hearts, that's a good one. It's
and
mobbed,
you
they're
had 2
shouting your
goals,
name.
just shout your thing. You've got 20 minutes to go.
It was 6-0 at the time. The game was done.
I know, but so what would you have done if it was 2-0 at Hearts?
You're 2-0
You don't take me off.
I was 4-2 up against Hearts in injury time and never won the game. He took me off at 4-2. Bobby Robinson, I thought, I'm planning my night out, and we drew 4 each, so no, I think he made the right decision for the team, because all it takes is for him to sprint it behind, pull a hamstring, take him off.
Hold on
Game's
a second.
done.
Let's rephrase it then. You're 4-0 up, right?
And
you've scored 2, but you know that there's a bonus. You're 1 away from the big bonus. It's a big night out for you. You can, you know, you're 4-0 up. They've got no chance. They're down to 10 men, and one of their players is limping because they've used all 5 subs.
Well, probably then. It's a different scenario.
A disgrace. So yeah.
Needed Haaland.
Yeah.
Plenty of money.
By the way, I have to say, he's the youngest player in Champions League history, Ruffy, to score 30 goals in the. I mean, he's
getting
only
criticised
25.
a couple of weeks ago. He was getting criticised, wasn't he, a couple of weeks ago? He's not making the right runs, and he's in this and that. And he scored 40 goals for them.
We were warned that this is going to happen by the great Hugh McDonald before he went to Man City.
Yes,
we were
he did
warned,
say to us.
We were warned, when this boy comes to the right team, you are going to get a shock, because this boy will score goals for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a few people thought, okay, you know, we'll
I
take
did
it.
say he would score 40 goals at the start of the season.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Hugh saying this tail end of last season before he got here. He was saying he's an absolute sensation because he was obviously watching him for Dortmund. And Pep himself, you know, well happy with what Haaland produced on the night, but surely Pep, you should have kept him on.
I said many times, he was a joy of guy, and his mood in the locker room, always happiness, and built or give to all of us, and he's a huge competitor. The mentality is there, and he scores 5 goals. Always is not easy.
Well, it's not easy. 39 goals in 36 games since joining City last summer. It is absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, it's frightening, isn't it?
Does that mean he's got 39 goals?
But do you know what's great about him, though? And
Here's that my career.
Here's the situation. He's also broken, I think, Tommy Johnson's record, which was... It was there for about 94 years for the most goals in a single season, and we're still at March, so that gives you an indication of where he's going. Can I just say to you though, Tam, when you look at Haaland, the reason why he is such a prolific goal scorer, as well as you've got to compliment him on his ability, you know, to hit the ball left and right foot and score goals like that, and of course score goals with his head. He is a throwback to the old days of your big, tall, physical striker as well. He can put himself about. He's got that physical presence. He's got that pace. You know, and if you throw in touch as well, he has everything. But there used to be a lot of players in Ruffy's day who had those qualities.
I would say the difference is he's got that pace you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's got the pace the other ones didn't have. The other ones had other things, and I'm going back to my era. I'm looking at Alan Shearer. You know, these kind of guys, they had everything he's got. They weren't as fast as him.
Yeah,
I would in a straight,
quick off the mark.
But I don't think. I think if it was a race, I think Haaland would win it. Quite easily.
I'm trying to think of a quicker player with his kind of physical build. I mean, I'm
the only one
thinking George Weah.
The only one I could think would be somebody like Thierry Henry. I thought he was big powerhouse and rapid, but
Lewandowski's tall.
Aye,
but I don't think
this
he's
guy's built. You know, his upper body strength is. I mean,
have you seen his diet? You need to go and have a look at his diet. He eats raw liver and all that stuff.
Does he?
No,
I'm not hanging about with him, by the way.
Night.
Not having
Did you live last night? But he
last night. I wouldn't eat
Did
it
you?
He eats raw meat and all that. And
the wee canty.
Yeah.
some fafa beans.
Hey, by the way, can I just say something? If he's no Dennis Norden, he's Anthony Hopkins, isn't he? What are you all about? Ian Docherty makes a good point. He says Joe Jordan was no slouch. Yeah. Blackadder makes a great point. Brazilian Ronaldo, number 9, but I mean, was he about
he was more
6 foot?
technical. He was step overs. I don't think Haaland's a step over.
No, he's definitely
He's just
not.
brute strength. He just rattles you out the road and busts in it.
Yeah, plus Ronaldo's a better player.
Oh, aye.
By an absolute mile, yeah. Now, I don't know if you did this, Ruffy. Great. Okay, City, are they winning it, even on the evidence of last night?
Well, I'm right behind them now.
You
They're
are?
my team. They're
Yeah.
my team now.
He just goes with any team that spends tons of money, didn't you?
No, he
No,
he only supports teams that have been bought by a state. That's Ruffy's game here. He thinks money.
Biggest glory hunter I've ever came across in my whole life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nah.
So he's going with that. Who are you going for?
I said Man City at the start of the season.
You
I thought
sticking
there was
with it?
certainty, and then I wavered about a month ago. I thought,
You went Napoli.
Then I'm starting to come around to say, right, if they turn up like that, they'll be hard to beat.
I'm going Real Madrid. I just can't see past them. I just think they're outrageous.
Man City would have beat Real Madrid last season if they had Haaland.
Yeah.
100% over the 2 legs. They missed a barrel load at home, and
I
away.
think it's going. I hope it's the final. Do you?
It'll be a good final.
It'll be a great final. After the game finished, Ruffy, I don't know if you did this, but I thought I'll catch the last 7 minutes of injury time of Inter against Porto.
Did you see Pepe?
Well, not only did I see Pepe, but I actually was out of my seat
He's
because
a
I couldn't
dirty
believe
guy.
Porto. They hit the post, they hit the bar. They were so unlucky. It was like outrageous.
They were
and of
unlucky.
course, they did that old thing that Scottish clubs and British clubs sometimes do, Tam, that we get heavily criticised for. There was only 4 minutes left injury time, so they decided to launch it.
No.
That's what happens.
Yeah, but I think the injury times is a weird one. You watch some games. I watched the Rangers Wraith Rovers game the other day, and Wraith Rovers players were going down willy-nilly in the first half, and I thought, I think he's going to add about 6 or 7 minutes on here, and he added 2.
Yeah.
And there's games like that last night. Again, you're watching the game, and I'm going, there's going to be some injury time here. It was 4 minutes. I thought it should have been 9. So I don't know how they work it. I'd love to know how they work the injury time. You know, in terms of people going down and all that. I'd love to see how that works out in terms of stoppages and all that, and how much time they add on it. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I like the way they do it in the rugby.
Yeah.
If somebody's down, they just stop the clock.
I've been saying that to you for years, and you argued
Just
the point
stop the
with me.
clock.
I said that to you about 10 years ago when we first got together, and you were like, no, I'm not having it.
No, my argument is if somebody really have somebody in 2 and they get...
Is this when the ball goes out of play as well?
Yeah, stop the
No,
clock.
no,
in
no,
Scottish football?
injury. No, rugby, injuries.
Aye.
Injuries. No, if somebody's injured, they stop the clock.
Because
If
if it was when the ball went out of play in Scottish football, games would last 9 hours.
Well, they wouldn't actually, but
They wouldn't be, you know what I mean? Like throw-ins the ball.
If you stop the clock, it stops the last bastion of players cheating, which is basically rolling about, injury, bringing on a sub, hoping the referee doesn't add on the full 30 seconds. Honestly, they're at it all the time. It's the one thing that denies the fans the ultimate, which is we've paid our money, any chance of getting 90 minutes without somebody going like this. Here's the classic one. You throw the ball to him for a throw and he goes and walks past it and then goes away and picks it up again. You name it, rolling over, cheating, the whole thing. Keeper goes from the left-hand side.
Tam, you're coming off him. You're coming off in 2 minutes, going over the far side of the park.
Exactly. Or keeper
Alan McLeish liked that one.
Here's Alan McGregor's favourite, by the way. He's the best at it in the country. Picks up the ball to take the goal kick. Instead of going to the left-hand side of the 6-yard box, walks over to the right-hand side of the 6-yard box, and then eventually takes a long road back.
There's a lot of ways you can waste time.
Oh,
I had a good one.
What did you
I
do?
had a good one. If we were winning and you know that there wasn't long to go, where the ball was getting thing, I'd loosen one of my laces. And I'd have to say to the referee.
That's despicable, isn't it?
I have to say,
You're part of
I'm not
Thistle
finished
fans.
yet.
You can't
I have to say,
tie with
I couldn't
gloves.
tie them with my gloves.
So you
So I
had
had
to
to
take
take
your
my gloves off and I had to get one of the, or I got a defender to come and tie my laces. That's at least a minute and a half.
He's the pitch, isn't he? Honestly.
Hey,
The
when you get a
absolute...
£25 bonus, you'll do anything.
Yeah, well,
tell you
and
nuts.
therein lies the... Another one here is somebody saying, Ruffy, always just every story relates to the Swally. Yes, you're absolutely right. If he could get in about, oh, that's a good wee gin or a wine or something, he always fires it into the conversation.
I hold my hands, I have to say, that's just me, but I think the majority of footballers, if they win a game, the adrenaline's going, and there's nothing better than just going out and have a night, blow it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you are. You're absolutely right. It's back to the Swally.
And that is why Scottish football is in this state it is.
Yes, exactly. Joseph says Napoli to win it. Joseph, who are
Aye,
we to
Joseph,
argue with you?
12
Could
to
be-
1. I've had a wee tickle on them as
have you?
a cover bet, yes.
Yeah, Napoli.
Yep.
I'll tell you, by the way, they're...
Down to about 7 or 8 now. They've romped the Italian league so they can rest players and all that. And
dark horses.
aye.
They could come out of left field on
Napoli
it.
Man City final would be tasty.
See, to be fair, Ruffy, it wouldn't it be great if you got
Somebody
a
like that
winner-
would win. I'd love
a
them to
winner
win it.
out with the relentless rich clubs that are just...
I think it'd be great if they won it. If they won the league and Champions League double. Think of Naples, think of the scenes.
Oh, it would be absolutely bananas. We'd need to send Adam over again just to get the whole colour of it
Probably
all.
trip over something.
Yeah, that's coming. Don't worry about it. Don't tease it now. That's coming up next week. We're not going to tell you what it is, but it's certainly worth it. What game are you going to watch tonight, Ruffy? I've got Real Madrid, Liverpool. I was there at the home leg, and I'm sadly going to see them finish the job off.
Yeah, they're exciting. You know, that's the only thing you can say about them. So no, that's
dead
the one.
rubber. It's a dead rubber.
I know, it's
dead rubber.
great
Well, so is
watching.
Napoli Eintracht. It's 2-0 up. You've got to watch it though, haven't you?
Players on show. It'd be great.
Imagine Liverpool get an early goal.
They're not going to win.
Well, listen, I never said they're going to win, but can you imagine? By the way, I'm going to text
imagine?
you. I'm going to text you if Liverpool get an early goal, and then
Text me the last time.
yeah,
Paris Saint-Germain, I was 4 goals up. I'm going, that's no chance. And then every goal, he went ding, ding, ding. I started looking at my phone and going, I'm not bothered with that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tam. It's just not going to happen. And even Jurgen Klopp agrees with us.
What I said after the game was, and the night 3 weeks ago, Madrid with the result, Madrid is through to the next round. But now we have 3 weeks later, and we know there's a game to play. And if there is only 1% chance, I would like to give it a try.
Yeah, I think he rates it as it's a 1% chance.
It's like dumb and dumb.
How can you say they're through to the next round because 3 weeks later, because they're playing so well in the 3 weeks,
Yeah.
he's
Get
changed his
1%.
mind that he
Get
can
1%.
Yeah,
decide he's going to
1%.
be there.
Yeah,
It's like Dumb and Dumber scene when he says, "You're telling me there's a chance." There's none.
yeah. Well, listen, I mean, the good thing about it is, Gregor says, Peter's getting deluded about tonight. You're absolutely right. And this is a good one. Oh, I like this. This is why I'm watching it. Don mentions, he says, Peter, 4-4 tonight. Liverpool have to go for it. I mean, see, if you're a manager, you don't want them to get spanked, but you may as well say to yourself, listen, let's go out, have a right go at them, make it a really good game, see where it goes. I mean, we loved it out there.
Liverpool have got nothing to lose. They've got nothing to lose, but they've got to play an absolutely perfect game. They've got to create loads of chances and take them all, and they've got to be watertight at the back. But Liverpool are going to have to open up and go and attack, and that's going to leave spaces for Modric and Benzema to.
Yeah. Can I just say something? Remember, by the way, pundits can end up with egg in their faces. They just sound stupid. You'll never win the league with kids. You can also get people turning around and going, well, this is and I'm giving you this verbatim, this is an unbelievable performance by AC Milan. Crespo, what a fantastic goal. Maldini scored. It's incredible. 3-0. This is an absolute trouncing. And then at half time, the Liverpool fans started singing You'll Never Walk Alone, and dare I say it, into the box, flick of the head from Gerrard, 3-1, everybody going bananas.
Chelsea did
3-2.
Chelsea Dudek won you the game.
And then the penalty, and then of course Jerzy Dudek's save, and then bang, what do you know? All the people who are on here, James Docherty said, Peter still believes in the Tooth Fairy. You're absolutely right. And the Tooth Fairy that night was Jerzy Dudek, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Still
4-0 Real.
What a save he had just before the end. He did.
I mean, that's a great save.
The reflex save for Shevchenko.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Stuck his hand up.
And you kind of had that feeling. I mean, it had everything, Ruffy, because, I mean, Alonso misses the penalty and then nets the rebound.
Yeah.
It was
a great game. It was a great one of the ones you remember because of the scoreline, but I really can't see that happen. I really can't see that happen.
Is that one of the greatest comebacks of all time? Is there anything better that you can think of?
Probably Barcelona against PSG.
PSG's up there as well, isn't it? I mean, that is, I cannot think of.
I think Deportivo, were they Deportivo La Coruña? Remember, they were a big team in the Champions League. I think they were 3-0 down for a away leg or 4-1 or something and turned it around back at home.
But in a final.
Yeah.
Final, a European. Oh.
Never 3-0 up.
And to be fair, by the way, Steven Gerrard was outrageous that night.
I think I backed AC Milan that night.
Did you?
Probably counting my money at half-time.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there as one of those fantastic ones. But to be perfectly honest with you, is it going to happen tonight? Okay, I'm with Tam on this. I can't see it. I just hope it's a classic 4-3 or something like that. Because it's like your classic line from yesterday. Celtic really started to get a grip in the game over in the Bernabeu. They had the first 2 minutes where they looked really good, and then Real Madrid scored. But it was a fabulous stadium. I don't know about this, Ruffy. Can you just tell me this? And Celtic and Rangers fans might have this feeling about it, but it's almost as if the Madrid fans are just waiting to be entertained.
Yeah, they are. They don't get too excited early on, they're just waiting because they know something's going to happen. One of the players on the park is going to do something a wee bit special. But when they do get the goals, the excitement behind that goal on the left-hand side. What is that? The goal at that side on the left hand where their supporters are behind.
Yeah.
Now it's all covered. Is that because of the rebuilding or something like that?
Yeah.
Is it developing the stadium?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic stadium, isn't it?
See, when it's finished, it'll be just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's up there with the Amsterdam Arena as one of those special stadiums that I've thoroughly enjoyed visiting, Ruffy. I can't think of anything better.
The highlight of that one was for me in the Real Madrid Celtic game was when we were told that there was none of the Celtic supporters to get in with the Real Madrid supporters. So we were coming into the ground and there was Celtic supporters with Real Madrid hats on and scarves that are going, oh, senor. So then they get in, right, and they're as usual way up in the blinking gods. I don't know why they accept that. They're up there and when Celtic's goal went in, there was a segment in the Real Madrid area, wasn't there? There was about 300 odd jumped out at the Real Madrid end, so they all got in.
Yeah, absolutely, off came the moustaches. Listen, if you love your Champions League football, this is a football show. We like to talk about all of these things. Some other things I want to get the guys' thoughts on. What do you make of Hibs Hearts now 12:30? I think some Hearts fans might be a little bit miffed. They've been buying tickets on the basis it was going to be a 3 o'clock kickoff. It's not being shifted for Sky Sports, but
it's not live in the telly either, is it?
No, it's not, but I think it's a pay-per-view situation where I think, certainly the Hibs board are looking at it and saying, let's see if we can maximise something here. I think fair play to them.
Yep, I think that's ideal. I think they've got a certain amount of games per season that they can have pay-per-view through the Sky deal now, so I think that'll be very popular amongst Hibs and Hearts fans. So maybe the change of time would allow maybe neutrals to watch it, rather than their own team at 3 o'clock. So I think it can only be good financially, I think, for Hibs and Hearts.
I don't think it makes that much of a difference shifting it to 12:30. You're in the same city.
Yeah.
You go there, you enjoy it. You're well used to games being shunted around, and if it gives them that extra bit of cash, then roll on. I think other clubs have got to look and work out ways to maximise the revenue.
Yeah, as Tam said, there's a window there to use it, to your advantage, and that's what they're doing. And you've got to keep thinking about money in the club. I don't know how much that would bring in for both clubs, but it can only help you at the end of the season.
Yeah. Okay. Some people are happy about it. Some people are not. What do you make of it? 12:30. Just a slight change to the kick-off time, but Hibs will try and capitalise on that as well. Now, coming up, I think obviously yesterday Scott Brown was talking about, raising money for the Celtic FC Foundation in an event they're having in May. But he was also kind enough to speak to the press and talk about, him being the captain and Callum McGregor coming on as the captain. Now, they're two very different captains in the role. The Celtic captain role has changed dramatically because, and Scott Brown will forever be remembered and go down in the history among Celtic fans as one of the great captains of Celtic because of what he achieved. But Callum McGregor's totally different.
Yeah, I think they're totally different players and characters. I think that Scott Brown, had that wee bit of fear factor about him. The shaven head and the stare. And I think the players respected him for that, and I think he led by example in training, the way he trained, the way he looked after himself. I think with Callum, I don't think it's that snarling presence that Scott Brown had. I think he leads by his performances. I think you see him every week. When was the last time you see, Callum McGregor was poor today? You never see it. You always say, by the way, McGregor, excellent. Every game he's a 7 or 8, sometimes a 9 out of 10. And he leads by example every game in the way he plays. So they're totally different characters. I'm sure Callum learned a lot from Scott when he was, kind of vice captain or just coming through, and when Bruni was a captain. And now you've got it the other way about, Callum McGregor. So no, I think both will go down in history as great Celtic captains.
Yeah, Brown yesterday was talking about the fact that nothing quite prepares you for becoming the Celtic captain. There's a whole load of responsibility, but he reckons Callum McGregor was certainly more suited to fitting into that role.
Yeah, I always knew Cal was the right one for the job. He loves the club, he wants to be here, he's came all the way through the youth, and he knows what the fans want and expect as well, and that's a huge thing for a captain of a football club. And probably when I got thrown into the role when I was a lot younger, I was a little bit naive at the time, but Cal understands because he's went through those stages. He's went and earned his badge, he's gone out on loan, then came back in and fought for his place, and quite rightly so, he should be captain of this club.
What do you make of your old teammate there? This is a softer Scott Brown with the hair and everything, it's all changed, eh?
I actually seen it the other day and I texted him, and he's definitely been dyeing it.
Yeah.
He's definitely dyeing it. He's definitely dyeing his hair. He denied it, but I seen him doing an interview for Fleetwood and there was not one grey hair, and he's a manager now as well.
Yeah. Are you saying that because obviously from your own point of view you've got the chihuahua on your chin and you've got these grey bits at the side?
Yeah, I'm just growing.
Is he the same age as you?
No, Bruni's about 3 or 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Doesn't look it, but no, I'm just growing naturally.
You're just going to grow old gracefully?
Yes, naturally.
I like that.
Bruni is dyeing his hair.
Yeah.
He's got cherry blossom on that.
I will need
100%.
I will need to.
Tell him that by
I'm going to tell him. I'll need to ask him. I'll need to ask him what the score is, Ruffy, with the hair. Did you ever? You still do, don't you? Do you dye your hair, Ruffy? As you get older?
I go away on holiday and the sun just bleaches it.
Put lemon juice in it.
Is that right?
No, I know who does that. He's a Hertford. He's a Hertford. Just they always put
I
lemon
do it sometimes.
in his hair.
Yeah. Of course, if the sun just bleaches your hair, because you take so many holidays, then obviously, it comes up a really good.
Did you ever get highlights, Ruffy?
No.
My mum used to put the cap on. You buy the homemade kit, and you put the cap on. You put the needle through, and flick it up, and then thing it with the blonde. And I think I've got brain damage from that from about 5 years of doing that. My mum used to do it.
It was really painful, apparently.
Aye, it was murder, but it looked good after couple of weeks.
There are certain footballers who just were in the game just to play football, and then there was the cosmetic football that you're hearing about now. Of course, Ruffy with the classic Perm, which was unbelievable in its day, but a classic. To the football across the city, I noticed Nicholas Raskin has been coming out and basically hoping that Ryan Kent will sign on and lead Rangers' resurgence next year. Is he the most likely to be at Rangers next season? Do you get the feeling that there will be some good positive news with Ryan Kent signing a new deal?
Yeah, if I was the Rangers manager, I'd be looking at obviously him and Morelos. It'd be Kent I'd be trying to keep. Because obviously he looks a pretty decent guy. He's never in the news or anything like that. He seems to go about his business privately. When he does turn it on, he turns it on. I think you could get him into the office and say exactly, if he's got a problem, if he wants to move. But if he wants to move, you've got to let him go. I mean, Tam's already made his mind up. He's going because he would have signed if he was going to. So I don't know what they have to offer him to get him to stay, because as we know in this game, his agent will be out there trying to get him the biggest deal for him and for the agent. And there'll be enough clubs out there would want him. So it'd be interesting to see what he's getting thrown in front of him from everybody else, and then what Rangers are going to throw in front of him, and that could be the deciding factor.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting to see, what Rangers do. I mean, Morelos, I think everybody is of the opinion he's going. Kent, I couldn't rule out an 11th hour deal on that one, but if he goes, then you're suddenly looking at for me, it's a complete rebuild. I mean, there might be the odd one or two that you're looking at that are going to stay there. You've got your Goldson in there, you've got James Tavernier.
If you let him go, you're going to have to spend $3 million to replace him.
It's not letting him go. He's not going to sign a new deal.
Yeah, no, but
he's not going to sign a new deal.
If he does go, he's costing you £3 million.
Are you absolutely?
He's a million %.
I'm just saying to you, are you absolutely saying Kent's gone? There's no way.
No way he's signing for Rangers. There's no way.
God.
I'll put my opinion out there. There's no way he's going to sign now. Why? Why would they? I mean, unless he goes out as a free agent and his agent and he looks about and he doesn't fancy it. Connor Goldson was out of contract and everybody thought he was going to leave. And there was rumours of Aston Villa and Premier League team championships, and then eventually signed a new deal with Rangers. In my opinion, he didn't get the move that he thought he was going to get from his agent. That could happen with Ryan Kent, but
what happens if they throw a deal in front of him and he can't refuse?
Well,
they've done it by now.
Well, he's saying he's not.
They've done it by now, Ruffy.
He can keep going and keep going.
He's going to explore.
The vibes are now we think they want to keep him. So if they want to keep him, they need to come up with something that's better than anywhere else he's getting offered.
Yeah,
I think it's ideal for Michael Beale to have all these players out of contract. It gives him ample opportunity in a blank canvas to bring. He's not got players tied to 3 and 4 year deals. He's got to try and shift. So I think there's no excuses for Michael Beale come, August, and when he's got his team. I think he will have his team, and I think there'll be.
What do you mean there's no excuses?
There's no excuses because he's going to have all these players leaving, and he's got a blank canvas. He's got that budget to go and sign his own players, and he'll Tavernier, Goldson, the boys that he signed, Raskin, Tillman possibly, the lad from Norwich.
I don't see Tillman. I don't see Tillman staying.
There'll be maybe 6 or 7 at Rangers that will stay.
Hadji.
Don't know. And then I think he's got an opportunity to sign 9 or 10 players, and then that's his team.
What kind of money are we talking about there for 10 players?
Well, you don't know. You don't know how much money
his
That's what I'm saying. So, but you're saying 10 players of quality. That's a lot of money.
It is, but the players that are leaving, he's going to have their wages to go and spend.
Yeah, but that.
They're not going to spend. They're not going. I'll tell you, Ruffy.
Well, that's the point I'm making.
The great thing about Scottish football, even on the feet here and all the way through. From the radio days at Radio Clyde, the amount of geniuses, financial geniuses, who know exactly and turn around and say to you, they've only got this, they've only got that. The point here is, with the money that they'll get from the season tickets, they know their overheads. Are they going to get investment? Will the Asian businessmen suddenly come up with more money for them? Will there be someone from outside that comes out of left field? These are all things nobody knows, but the one certainty here is, are they going to be able to sign 10 quality players? The answer is emphatically no. What they'll do is they'll look towards the markets. They might go to Asia. They might turn around and suddenly a Japanese player emerges, or they might look and say, as Tam said, okay, we've got this from the season ticket money, we've got this other bit of investment, we've got, you know, a situation here where we've got to make this kitty work to its maximum, and then hopefully avoid, and no harm to the boy, but hopefully avoid a Kemar Roof situation where he's injured constantly, and a John Souttar where he hasn't kicked a ball for them.
Another thing as well, in terms of Ryan Kent, you says, you know, what if Rangers make an offer that he can't refuse? I wouldn't break the bank for Ryan Kent. I wouldn't make him the highest paid player at the club. I wouldn't see if it was a guy that scored 40 goals or 30, 35, 40 goals. I would break the bank for him. I wouldn't break the bank for Ryan Kent. I'd offer him a deal. If he didn't take it, thanks, see you later. I don't think his numbers are good enough. I think he's a very good player, but his numbers in terms of goals and assists is not worth breaking the bank for.
I agree with you, Tam. I think that's a very good point on it. I think Rangers have got to look and say to themselves, okay, here's the offer we think you're worth. If you don't want it, fine. We've got to go and look and try and really have a far better recruitment policy than has been of late. Because quite simply, I think a lot of Rangers fans have highlighted some players that just have not stepped up to the mark. And the other thing, which we've gone on ad nauseum, Ruffy, about, is quite simply, this is not just a transformation into Michael Beale's side, which Tam mentioned. This is a side that has to get to the Champions League group stages, so they have to gel quickly, and then they have to make sure they're on Celtic's tail through the month of August, or all hell lets loose.
Yeah, the pressure's there already. The pressure's there before this all starts. You've got a set of supporters are pulling up banners saying we don't trust you. Whoever's bringing the players in, we just don't think you're doing the right thing. We want somebody else doing it. So you've got that ongoing as well. Yeah. So whoever's making the decision has to get it right. If Tam's saying they're going to bring 8 players in, the 8 players would better be first team players, because that's what the fans accept.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. FIFA have approved this expanded World Cup, which will be the longest in the history. The 2026 World Cup will have 104 games in total, which is up from 64. 12 groups of 4 teams with 32 teams to make it through to the knockout. It's going to last 39 days. Now, let me just say that again.
That's good for us.
It's going to last 39 days. It's not good for anybody in a relationship, let me tell you. It was previously 29, and the winner playing 8 matches. They're splitting them across USA, Canada and Mexico. So it's likely to kick off on June the 11th with the final on July 19th.
Don't mind going to Mexico and America and Canada.
Yeah.
For 39 days.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you what. You know, touch wood, we're all still here, but I'd let you go. I'm not talking about off. I'm talking about the threes.
Do you know something about China that we don't? What's happening?
we're going to the World Cup. We're going to Toronto.
Yeah.
I've already been offered a big pad over in Toronto.
Have you?
Yes. We can go and stay there for the World Cup.
Will anybody else be there?
No, it'll be just us 3.
That's fantastic news.
Well, initially.
Yeah,
great.
We'll need to take the reporters. We'll need to take the reporters. We've got to take the team. We've got to take the camera.
Just the 3s.
Just the 3 of us. That would be magnificent.
Ben behaving badly.
I'll just hold the camera.
I just need to wait and see which games are in Toronto.
Okay, can't wait for that.
Scotland.
I'm not going to Scotland's knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah, watch me. Anyway, here's the Europa League fixtures, by the way. Whether you like that World Cup format or not, you can let us know. Last 16, Freiburg, Juventus, Feyenoord, Shakhtar Donetsk, Real Betis against Man United, Fenerbahce, Seville, Ferencváros, Bayer Leverkusen, Real Sociedad against Roma, USG against Union Berlin, and Arsenal against Sporting Lisbon. That's the fixtures to look forward to. Is there a winner in that tournament for you, Tam, in the Europa League?
Europa League?
Wouldn't it be amazing if Mourinho won the Conference League last year and the Europa this year? Can you see that?
I mean, he was written off when he left Man United, wasn't he? You know, as yesterday's man, a dinosaur, etc., etc. Done very well at Roma, but I think Man United have won it.
Yeah,
I think it's out of the 2 English teams. I think it's out of Man United and Arsenal. I think they're too strong. They've got big squads. The only thing I would say Man United is they're not in a title race. They can concentrate on that. Arsenal, you know, are locked head to head with Man City.
My shout's Juventus. Where are you going,
I'm going to
Ruffy?
go Roma.
Yeah?
I'm going to Roma. I think the Italian teams are always, when it gets into the nitty gritty, they're always difficult to beat.
Okay, interesting stuff. Just one wee thing that caught my mind, and I just wonder if you can come up with a few before we finish today, guys. Rod Stewart, he's in Australia on a tour, you know, and he's... I must admit, if you weren't a Celtic fan, you'd probably think to yourself, any chance you could give it a rest, Rod? You're doing my head in. that would be my thoughts on it. But he's dedicated the song in his concert in Melbourne to Ange Postecoglou. You know, Rod's a Celtic fan, and he sang "You're in My Heart." You know, a bit cheesy. I was just thinking, he came up with 10 pop songs that have been embraced by fans in the UK. You know, that they've really... it's a pop song and they've sang it, and they might have changed the odd word here and there, but
Which songs did
that is
that's quite a popular one.
Yeah.
I don't know who sang that.
yeah, that's going to annoy me now. How can I not get
That's a
that?
90s song.
No, it's not. It's an 80s.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a kind of an 80s.
Is it going to be
Tom Hark. That's
Is it?
what that is. Yeah.
is it a team that's picked up the song?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example.
All right.
The Marcells, Blue Moon, Man City. Blue Moon, you saw
I'm
me,
forever
sir?
blowing bubbles. West Ham.
West Ham.
Mull of Kintyre, Nottingham Forest.
Is that right?
Yes, they sing it before every game. Mull of Kintyre, they
Wow.
blare it out. That's a Nottingham Forest big
You're on the
song.
March Valley's Army.
No, that's a specific for a tournament geared up. I was thinking, of course, Depeche Mode, Just Can't Get Enough. Beautiful Sunday, Daniel Boone. Blue Moon, the Marcells, You'll Never Walk Alone is the bog standard one. Tina Turner, Simply the Best. The Hibs fans sing Twist and Shout.
Motherwell fans, Twist and Shout.
Yeah, Motherwell fans sing it
Hibs,
as well.
Sunshine and Leith.
Sunshine Leaf. The Drifters, Come On Over to My Place, and of course Mental as Anything, Live It Up is another one that's been blasted out over and the Liverpool fans sing I Feel Fine by the Beatles for Jurgen Klopp. I was just trying to think of any others that kick in, and of course I think Robert said Simply the Best. Yeah, there's more than a few.
Norwich's last year was Down, Down, Deeper and Down.
There it is. Thanks, Gregor. Pig Bag.
Who is it?
Papa's got a brand new pig bag. That's that.
That one.
Yeah. Okay. We're only getting.
Family fans used to sing that with me. Tom
Yeah.
McManus.
Did they? Wow, they must have had a real dearth of
That
talent.
was for the
that
first couple of
year.
weeks I was there.
Yeah, and then eventually you get on. Brilliant. Anyway, here's the competition. Still a chance to get in there.
We have another superb competition here at PLZ Soccer. You can win one of our very own Maestro tops from the PLZ Soccer shop, along with a poster of Celtic legend Danny McGrain or Rangers legend Davy Cooper. All you have to do is answer this simple question: which year did Scotland last qualify for a World Cup? Post your answer in the comment section below, and when we pick our winner, we'll contact you to find out which poster you would like and which colour of Maestro top you would like to wear. And don't forget to double your chances of winning. Hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck indeed with that. And thanks very much to quite a few others. Frank Green says, Hey Jude is a good one. Yeah, quite a few people coming up with Sweet Caroline. I forgot all about that. Sweet Caroline.
That Falkirk.
Sweet Caroline.
No, that's Amarillo's Falkirk. Is this the way to
Yeah, absolutely. Tom's scared to sing the entire song. He just gives you a couple of bars and then fades out because he doesn't want to be on record as singing a song. The quiz. The question we posed was, name the only two other players other than Erling Haaland to have scored 5 goals in a UEFA
I'm going for
Champions
Messi
League
and
game.
Raul, but I think Ruffy's right.
Messi and Raul.
Yep.
Who are you going for?
And Messi and Lewandowski.
Okay, so this one is a record.
Benzema.
Well, Ruffy, are you going to change?
No.
I'll give you the
No.
chance to change.
No,
it.
no changing.
I'm going to allow you to
No,
change.
no,
you want
no
to change?
changing.
No. Okay.
changing.
It's
Definitely Lionel
it's
Messi, definitely.
Lionel Messi and Luis Adriano for Shakhtar Donetsk against Bati Borisov in 2014. They're the other two
Did you know
players. I cannot believe you two didn't get Adriano. That's the answer to the quiz. You can win on our show Monday to Friday. There's lots of competitions. There's the quiz. There's no shortage of opinion. A wee bit of banter. Everybody sings every now and then. And we read out some of your messages and you can interact with each other. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Download the PLZ Soccer app. There's some great one-to-ones on the way, and there's a great mini documentary that I think more than a few of you will be interested in. That's coming up in PLZ Soccer. We're bringing you so much unique video content. Hopefully you'll join the football family and hit that subscribe button. From Ruffy, from Tam, from myself, Peter Martin. Enjoy the football tonight.
Vamos Madrid.
Yes, beat it. Thank you.